me cry. Feels like I know you better than others, but you don't care, you never reply. I've tried shutting you off for some time now, but I'm still hearing your voice in my head. Oh, I wish I was more than your fan now, and that your voice came from here in my bed.
Alright, cool beans. Hope you guys did enjoy that small montage. I'm Hex. I'm finally going to be going over my updated StamCro build for the update 39 that should easily transverse to the update 40 patch easily. This will be a more of a longer video for those that do want to learn Crow. So if you want to learn Crow, stick around to the whole video. I'll explain very much about Crow for those that do want to learn more about their class or are new to the game. But for those that have been playing around the game, you can just skip, see my skills, get my CP, get all my gear, and get out in like 2 minutes. Up to you. I'm just going to say it out of the way. StamCro is one of the roughest, well, I mean, Crow in general is one of the roughest classes out there. Thankfully, StamCro is better than Macro in my opinion, especially for 1vxing. But what makes a Crow is the survivability. Crow's survivability is one of the best survivabilities out there. Only rivaled by Stamplar and only beaten by Arcanist, because Arcanist is probably the best defensive class in the game. You can't kill an Arcanist if they don't really want to die. But StamCro is a close second. And the thing about Crow is their offensive is very, very lackluster. You don't have very much, but thankfully with this build, we have some very easy set and forget high pressure dot damage, and you can absolutely catch so many players off guard, especially sweats. If a sweat starts playing sloppy around you, you can easily catch them off guard. That's what I like about StamCro. They have to be, when they start getting bored and playing sloppy, you can punish a lot of players that are sloppy. Not only does it come with the meta tankiness, Menace is saying it comes with some of the easiest set and forget damage, and I said best survivability of one of the stand builds out there. But how exactly we get this strong build in order? Stick around to the end and I'll show you exactly how. But before we get started, you hit the subscribe and like button. It really goes a long way. Really do appreciate it. Support me on Patreon, follow me on Twitch, and follow my second channel on YouTube. Subscribe to my second channel on YouTube, Hexapod 2, where we can just watch raw gameplay. For those that want to watch raw gameplay and kind of learn how I play the game, or for those people that critique all my montages and don't realize they're montages, not gameplay, and realize, hey, if you want to watch me play around a rock for 5 minutes and kite around a rock, it's there. Knock yourself out, bro. Because the whole point of a montage wasn't for gameplay, it was just showing highlights. But enough of that little ramble. You know the rest. But without further ado, let's blast these our way into the build. Alright, so first skill we do run Race Against Time. This is obviously our snare immunity that just happens to grab Major Expedition and Minor Force. Please don't switch out this skill. This skill is very mandatory. Those snares is what really gets you killed. If you can get rid of those snares, you're set. If you really wanted to, maybe you could, but I highly wouldn't recommend it. Next skill is Dead in Pain. Dead in Pain is a ridiculously strong skill. Now, this is how you buff a skill, and I am looking forward to the buffs of Necro. This is a great start. So before the original one, where if you casted this skill, you consume a corpse. For those wondering what are corpses, how do corpses work for Necro, I will have a separate section towards the end of the video for those that are just don't really understand Necro too much, or maybe just want a refresher or brand new to ESO. I'll go over that more towards the end. But basically, you consume the corpse. Before, it used to give you a 2-second haunt, and it used to give you 2 seconds of major protection. Now it doubles the duration. So each corpse gives you 4 seconds of a haunt and major protection. So normally your Ghost, your armor buff, and your Blasties combo, that would give you like 3 corpses. Normally that would give you 6 seconds. Now that gives you 12 seconds. You can get up to 24 seconds with this thing, which is just insane to think about. And a passive while having a slaughter. Just 3% damage mitigation, because just here you go for free. You could run the other morph maybe. I know that that extra ulti is very enticing. If you are in a group or you are in BGs, I'd highly recommend the other morph. But if you're solo, 1vxing, or you really don't trust your teammates much, then I recommend Dead in Pain. However, this is your flex spot. There are many great skills to put here. You could put on a great skill would be Mortal Coil. Mortal Coil is an insanely strong haunt. You get a heal, and you get 170 mag and stam every 2 seconds, and you get more healing done while slaughtered. Really good skill. Some other great alternatives, if you do want to run tripods, you could run tripods and maybe put Hidden Blade, whatever morph you want to run. The one that bounces will probably be the best. Or if you don't want to be a loot, because you'll probably be made fun of. Tripods on the build, I recommend Degeneration, the morph of Entropy. This is how we get our 20% weapon and spell damage on the build. That way we can run tripods and just go off that and just have infinite sustain. Or another good one would be Turn Evil. Turn Evil is a very strong skill. Basically, this is what gives us our on-demand stun, because on this whole kit, outside of our ulti, we're not stunning a target, which is very unfortunate. So this would be a very good skill. There are just many great alternatives. The only problem is I wish there were better alternatives. Next skill is Blasties, or you could honestly run either morph, the mag, or the stam morph. I've done both, and honestly, I think the mag morph is better, but it is harder to sustain your mag. If you are running tripod, stocking blast bones all day. If you're running the normal pounce that I run, the weapon crit with weapon damage stam pounce, stocking blast bones can be sustained. However, it is very rough on your mag, so running the stam morph would be really easy on your resource pool. The stalking blast bones, well, the reason I love this morph, the other morph, it adds a snare, which it doesn't even say it adds a snare, but it does. 4-second snare, like, which is ridiculous. And you put 4 seconds of major defile on the target, which is a lot of anti-heal. This morph keeps it doing flame damage. The other one does disease damage. This does flame damage. And this thing can increase up to 50% bonus damage for how long this thing is running, which is just insane. So if you hit a vampire at full range with this and you crit, you are absolutely melting a vampire. I tried both. Honestly, you could go either morph, whatever you prefer. If you want the most damage, stalking blast bones. You want to be a cheese lord, blinded blast bones. Next skill is obviously twin slashes. You could run either morph. Blood Craze gives you that nice heal anytime you deal damage with the initial attack and every time you deal damage with the dot. Which is really good about this morph is you can put this on 5 Joe Bobs, and every second you will be healing every time this thing does damage on one of them, which is crazy. If you do damage all 3 at one time, you're gonna get 3 heals right there. Really good. The other morph does add a snare though, which would be really good for locking down your opponent. This tooltip might look at a little, but if you're a true master, wink, then you can absolutely get this thing to ridiculous amounts of numbers. Next skill is Whirling Blades. This is another flex spot, I guess you could say. I like Whirling Blades because it's an execute. It's an execute / spammable. It's really good because it's an AoE and it's undodgeable. Yes, so no one can roll dodge this. Because what's going to happen is you're going to Dawnbreaker someone into oblivion, and if they survive with a sliver of health, their first instinct is to CC break and roll dodge. And guess what? You can't roll dodge that Whirling Blades, and you catch so many people off guard. Plus, you can also put a Nightblade out of stealth with this if you really want to. However, you can run Blood Craze when you do pair with the arena weapon as a spammable. It is very possible, so if you do want to change this one out, you could change it out for any of the alternatives. Also, if you want to pull out Nightblade, you could put Camo Hunter here instead. I just like having that AoE execute, just really good. Just when you Dawnbreaker and Blasties, you can actually get multi-kills with this, which is just insane. Next skill is obviously Dawnbreaker Smiting. This is perhaps the best universal ultimate in the entire game. Deals ridiculous amounts of damage in a cone in front of you, stuns the target, and if they're able to tail the tail of the Dawnbreaker, well, that Dot's for sure gonna put them down. I mean, if you want, you maybe could run Colossus. They did buff it quite a bit actually, but it's just so expensive still, and then you're not even guaranteed to hit all of it. This is instantly damage and it stuns them, so it's for the combo. And before we get to the back bar, I just want to go over one little thing before I forget. We are running an ice staff on the back bar, so please do not put any points in Trifocus. 0 points. Do not put a single one. Not 1, not 2, just 0 points right there. Because if you put even 1 point, your blocking will now cost Magicka, which we don't want on our back bar. Trust me. The only passes you really want is Ancient Knowledge. Reduces the cost of block and increases our block mitigation, which is just amazing. And if you want some flavor, you could get these if you want. But this is the only passive you need, and you better put 2 points in there and 0 points in here. You can honestly just go no points into this whole passive and just 2 points here, and you'll be perfectly fine. Before I forget. So for the back bar, we do run Summoner's Armor. This is obviously the Necro's armor buff. I like this morph because it gives us cost reduction. You could run the other morph. Honestly, they're both okay. I mean, this one's whatever. I think one thing that the armor buff needs to do, these things need to last 25 seconds. At best 30, at minimum 25 seconds. The game is so fast paced that a 20-second armor buff, especially on a Crow, when you're just casting so many abilities just to buff up, it's just too much. Next skill is Spirit Guardian. This is obviously what makes a Crow incredibly tanky. It gives you a hot, which is pretty cool, but while this thing is up, you get 10% damage mitigation. This is basically a unique form of major protection that also stacks with major protection, so you can have 20% damage reduction with those 2 skills up, which is just insane. And it can create a corpse. One more thing, Zoss, if you're listening, please buff this up to 20 seconds. The game's too fast paced. By the time you're able to set up your combo, your buffs already fall off, which is just, that's the problem with Crow. You just have to pass too many buffs before you can even do anything. Next skill is Resolving Vigor. This is obviously our burst hot, heal it over 5 seconds, and grants us minor resolve. Next skill is Elemental Susceptibility, or most common referred to as Alistus. This is how we basically get armor shred on the build. Major breach, it's almost 6k armor shred on a target. And we put Burning, Chilled, and Concuss initially when we cast the skill, and every 7.5 seconds. And we all know what happens when you put Chilled on a target with an Eye Staff equipped, which we do have. We put Minor Brittle on them, making them take 10% bonus damage from all crits. Your crits, your alliance crits, your BG group crits, even the enemy BG or alliance crits will also do extra damage to them. Next skill is Resistant Flesh. This is a very strong heal. This is basically our burst shot, heals us a lot. It puts Minor Defile on us for 4 seconds, but when you're getting zerged over, you're already going to have Minor Defile on you regardless. And if that's really a turn off for you, I mean, living death. When you have a negative effect active on us, we increase our healing by 8%. So we receive 8% less healing, but we do 8% more healing. Makes sense. And the thing about this morph, don't run the other morph. The other morph is it's hot buttons. There have been times where I crit healed this thing for 14, even 18k. That 18k heal gave me 9k armor for 3 seconds, basically making me immortal. It's an insane heal. And lastly, we do run Ravenous Goliath. This is obviously our Bone Daddy ultimate. This is our get out of jail free card. Instantly shoot back to full, get 30k more health, get a dot around us that heals us, light attacks, heal. There's just so much about the skill. Our get out of jail free card. Alright, but enough, let's go to the stat sheets. Okay, so for the stat sheets, we're just going to be going over just simple weapon damage, weapon crit, and stamp pots. You can either run the ones that are crafted or the ones from the AP vendors. They do the exact same thing. Max mag over 15k, max health just shy of 32k. This actually can go up to 32k if you do run the gold food. And our max damage is shy of 24k. And now our recall is fully buffed. We gotta proc one of our sets and keep your ghosty up, because your ghosty will give you 200 recall while it's up. Look at that. Mag recall over 1700, and our stam recall is over 2200. And this can go up by an extra 150 when we do have a negative effect active on us, which is basically 99.9% of the time in PvP. Keep our pot, make sure our pot's still going. Look at that, our weapon damage is at 4600 and our weapon crit is over 36.3. That is insane. Now you may be wondering, why are you using mag skills with weapon damage, weapon crit? Well, ever since the whole hybridization patch, it doesn't matter what the ability costs, whether it costs mag or stam, or what damage it does. It will go off whatever's higher. So it says, what's higher, max mag or max stam? Max stam is higher, so we're gonna use that. Looks at our weapon and spell damage. Weapon damage is higher, we're gonna use that even if the ability costs mag. Same thing with the crit. So our weapon damage might look a little low, but you have to realize we are heavily invested in the Bloodthirsty. We have 3 Bloodthirsty. If you ran Infused, you'd easily be pushing over 5k weapon damage, easily. And so our penetration normally is 7190. If you didn't know this, every time you cast your Blasties, you get 1500 more penetrations. So basically almost 8700 penetration, which might look a little low, but you have to realize we do have access to Major Breach and potential Minor Breach, which is over 17k penetration basically, which is just insane. And we all want to see how it looks with Balor, so let's just take a look. Penetration over 20k plus the almost 9k from the minor and major. We're easily pushing over 28k with a full Balor's, and our weapon damage is over 5200, and that's with full Bloodthirst. So you'd be easily pushing 5600, even 5700 with full infused weapon and spell damage. Now our resist on our back bar real quick. Spell resist over 27.6k, and our physical resist over 26k. Might look a little low, it is, but you do realize we do have a skill called Resist Flush. For half the amount we heal, that's how much armor we're gonna get for 3 seconds. So let's just take a look. Let's just make our health go low. I swear, when I first did the first recording, this thing would never crit. So let's look at our resist. 27.6, 26.1. Over 32k physical and over 34k spell. That's normal. 12k crit heal, that's what you're normally gonna be critting for in PvP next to a keep. This tells you how powerful Resist Flesh is. For attributes, we do have 20 points in the health and 44 points in the stam. About average, just what I usually do on every build. If you want more points in the max stam, go ahead. If you want to be a full Cheese Lord and go more max health, then go ahead, it's all there. For the food, Jewels of Mistral saying that purple food is perfectly fine. And the Mundus, obviously the Thief. If you know me, you know that I love crit. having a higher chance of doing extra bonus damage and extra bonus healing, that's already got me sold. Because what absolutely melts pugs is critting, and what absolutely pressures the sweat is when you crit your whole combo and you can even catch a sweat off guard like that. However, if you are newer to Crow or you are playing BGs, then I would highly recommend the Serpent. The Serpent would make it to where you're just infinitely sustained, never have to worry about your stamp. And obviously we are a stage 3 vampire for one simple passive. Undeath. The lower health we are, the tankier we become. And for my race, I am an Imperial. In my opinion, Imperial is hands down the best stam race out there. Get access to tough, increase our max health by 2k, the most max health from a racial passive. Imperial metal increases our max stam by 2k, and most importantly, and the best pay to win, I mean best race, full passive in the game, Red Diamond. Red Diamond is one of the best racial passives in the entire game. Reduces the cost of all your abilities by 6%. That's 6% cost reduction to mag, stam, health, and your ultimates cost 6% less, and your core combat abilities cost less. Your roll dodge, your CC break, your block, your sneak, your bash, all cost 6% less. This is basically almost negating the fact that we're a stage 3 vampire, which is just insane to think about. Some great alternatives. Khajiit would be really good for this build. We do have high crit. Khajiit's just really good on almost any build these days. Orc is really good. Orc would probably be one of the strongest ones. What's the other one? Nord would be really good. Wood Elf is pretty good. Don't sleep on Wood Elf. Wood Elf be a sleeper. Any other race I probably wouldn't. Dark Elf, okay, maybe if you don't want to race change. Any other race I'd probably stay away from. Stay away from Redguard. Redguard's probably the Royce race in the game. Alright, but enough of that. Let's go over the sets now. Okay, so for the first set we do run obviously Wretched Vitality. Wretched Vitality is a very, very powerful set. I mean, you're really probably saying, Hex, you run Wretched Vitality in almost every build. The reason I run Wretched Vitality is because it's one of the best sets in the entire game, especially for 1vxing. It is a godsend. Being able to get up to 390 base magicka and stamina recovery. That's base. You can add 30% from your pots, 15 from minors, 20 from continuous. You see, there's so many ways to amplify this that you're easily pushing over like 500, even 600 recover, which is just insane to think about. The thing about this, it also opens up your potions. Now we don't have to worry about our mag and have to pop a tripod. Now we can use the potion to get a unique buff, which we're getting 20% weapon damage and 12% crit from our pots, which opens up an extra skill on our bar, which is just insane to think about. And on top of that, it's back barrable and it's crafted. What more do you want? Try it once, you'll never go back. Pop this thing with the tripod. Yeah, you're never dying. You're never running out of resources. And for the monsters that we do run the powerhouse that is Battle-Orcs. Obviously, Battle-Orcs is the go-to monster set when you want damage. Being able to get up to 500 weapon and spell damage and over 11k penetration when you drop your ultimate is just insane, because when you drop your ultimate, that's it. You're committing for the kill, so you want all that extra weapon damage and all that extra penetration just to shred targets. And don't get me started on that 500 Battle-Orcs, right? If you do want to make this a non-DLC build, you could run Bloodspawn. Bloodspawn would be a very good monster set. I love Bloodspawn. The Donnie spam with that thing is just insane. You could run the Engine Guardian. There's another one too. Celine's maybe? I don't know. Maybe if you wanted to be cheese. I don't know. And next set we do run a static 5-piece on this build. And I'm just going to say it right now, I apologize for those that are going to get salty about this. We are running Way of the Fire. Now you might be saying, oh wow, another Way of the Fire build. Let me guess, you're running some master weapon, huh? Okay, I'm gonna say it right now. If I don't have to run Way of the Fire, I won't run it. I will look through so many sets. I've looked through so many sets for Crow. I tried them all, and Way of the Fire was the one that gave me the best results, because I'm over here trying to help you improve and enjoy your playstyle, your class. Because I'm gonna say right now, Necro it's rough. It's really rough. People that play Necro, my hat's off to you. It's rough, especially for 1vx. If you're running a Zerg, you can run whatever you want. So the thing about Way of the Fire is, anytime you do damage with a weapon, you deal almost 3k extra flame damage with a 2-second cooldown. That's a ridiculously low cooldown, and it does flame damage to shred those vampires and to proc burn to even further shred the vampires, which is just insane. So if you didn't know this, rending, it actually does bleed damage every 2 seconds. And guess what? Way of the Fire has a 2-second cooldown. You see where the cheese goes? So you're just doing so much amounts of burst and just set and forget damage, which is just insane to think about. Like I said earlier, I've tried many sets and Way of the Fire is the go-to for Crow because Crow needs all the love it can get. And for the front bar, I mean, you can pretty much tell what it is, and that is the Master's Perfected Dual Wield. Obviously non-perfected, perfectly fine. The only thing the perfected version does, it adds 2.5% crit, that's it. Whether perfected or non-perfected, the main thing, the only thing we care about, Twin Slashes deals over 1600 bonus damage off the initial hits and the bleed. If you didn't know this, rending actually hits twice. So when you pop rending, you actually hit them with both weapons, so you double proc this initially, and the DoT actually gets increased by this too. So it's just easy set and forget damage. Think about this, the thing lasts for 20 seconds and you can put this on 5 targets and it's just insane amounts of set and forget damage. I mean, we just kind of have to run the Master's Dual Wield because Crow just has no love. I mean, the reason we run the Master's Dual Wield is because I don't really like 2H on my Crow. 2H is one of the worst class like weapons to use for 1vxing. It's so wonky, so horrible. I always get CC'd or they roll dodge, or I always fight like 20 knife plays that always cloak before it even lands. With Dual Wield, you can render someone and just spin the win and catch so many kids off guard. So for the front bar, we do run double Master Perfected Maces. Obviously non-perfected, perfectly fine. We do run double Maces because it will give us extra penetration, because in PvP, penetration is key. On the main hand, we do run Nirnhone. Please, on the main hand, make it Nirnhone. It makes a difference. And we do run an Absorb Stam enchant. Good for the damage and sustain. Mostly there to be able to proc Minor Breach on the build, getting almost 3k armor shot on the target. And I did have one guy comment that I'm not using the full gold quality of enchants. You are right, I am not using gold enchants. I'm actually using purple enchants. Saying that purple enchants on your weapons is perfectly fine because all you want is the status effect. Whether you use a white level 1 enchant or a gold max level enchant, you will still get the 4 seconds of Minor Breach regardless, or the 4 seconds of a status effect. That's all we care about. So it doesn't really matter. If you can use, you know, use the highest level purple enchants, it will save you a lot of gold, trust me, because I'm always changing the traits on these because I use these same 2 Masters Dual Wields on a lot of classes. Sometimes I need flame, sometimes I need shock, sometimes I need fire, sometimes I need poison. You see what I mean? So I just use poison so I can just easily swap them around easily. On the offhand, we do run Sharpen because, like I stated earlier, penetration is king. And we do run a shock enchant. Just in case Elisus does fall, we have another chance to proc Minor Vol on the build and just absolutely shred someone to oblivion. On the back bar, we do run the Ice Staff of Wretched Vitality. We actually do run a poison on this and absorb Magicka poison, or drain Magicka, I guess it's called, draining 238 mag every second for 5.5 seconds. So this basically gives us over 1100 mag over 5 seconds, which honestly, put these poisons on once, play a whole day with it, then take them off, and you'll be like, whoa, where's my mag sustain? Where's my mag? Trust me, these things are so amazing. If you're running tripods, you can run anything. You can run any enchant, you can run any poison. If you're running tripods, I recommend double DoT poisons. Or if you think you're the best Crow, double DoT poisons back here and absolutely shred someone into oblivion. And for the body, we do run the typical 3-2-2. Yes, 3-2-2 like I run on all my Stam builds now. 3 heavy, 2 medium, 2 light. I absolutely love 2 light on Stam classes. It's just amazing. The extra line of almost 1k pen and crit, it's just amazing, and I think it's just phenomenal on Stam builds. So we do run a heavy Balor's Helm, heavy chest of the Fire, medium shoulders of Balor's, light sash and hands of Wretched Vitality, heavy legs of the Fire, and medium feet of Wretched Vitality. For the enchants, if you can't, try set all the pieces, and if you can't do that, try set the big pieces. What I mean by that is head, chest, and legs, and if you can't do that, max Stam is perfectly fine. Just adjust your health attributes at the end. And for the traits, typical seal of approval, 6 Pen, 1 reinforced Hexapod. Yep, the only reinforced I have is a heavy chest of the Fire reinforced and the rest Pen. Now this is where most people will say, Pen's a dead trait. Pen is not a dead trait, it's personal preference. If you want well fitted, go ahead, run some well fitted. You want some more heavy reinforced pieces, go ahead. That's what I love about builds, we fit to our playstyle. And for the jewelry, full jewelry of Way of the Fire. Yep, I got these bad boys golded out from the golden. Oh yeah. All 3 with Bloodthirsty and increased weapon and spell damage with Stam Recov. Obviously, if you have some with Mag Recov, or if you have one or all infused, you can honestly go that way. I like Bloodthirsty because when we drop a Dawnbreaker and a freaking Blasties on them and we spin to win them and they're like 20% health, they're going to take a 10k spin. And that Undeath passive is not going to affect them at all. But if you do want to go full infused, you would have some crazy heals with that. And for the food, simple Jewels of Mistral, saying that purple food is perfectly fine. Gives us a lot of max health and recover everything. But if you got a deep pocket or don't mind spending a little extra, or Zaka Smoke Bear gives you about 400 more max health and slight more recover. And for the pots we do run, simple weapon damage, weapon crit with stam pots. That's it. This is how we get our 20% either weapon or spell damage. The reason we go 20% weapon damage and 12% weapon crit is because we're a stam build and we want a potion that gives us stamina and stamina recovery. So this is the pop, and now what we get is 20% weapon damage and 12% weapon crit. So it just synergizes well with the build, and ever since the whole hybridization patch, it doesn't matter whether the ability costs mag and does flame damage, it will still scale off whatever's higher. So if our weapon damage is higher, it will use that. You can either craft them yourself, or you can run the AP ones from the AP vendors. They do the exact same thing. Obviously, always have tripods slotted, and if you do want to run tripods on the build and not suffer too much, then what you could do is you can either swap out Dead in Pain or Whirling Blades. I don't recommend swapping out Race Against Time, but if you don't have Race Against Time, then you can swap that out. If you don't do the DLC, then you could put Entropy here, or Degeneration was called now. Get our 20% weapon and spell damage from there, and now we can run tripods. Or you could run Hidden Blade. What's that morph that bounces? Yeah, run Shouted Daggers. Don't run this one because you'll look weird. I mean, in general, popping this skill is just awkward. Like, you'll be made fun of, but if you don't want to grind up Mage's Guild and you just want to have access to weapon and spell damage, this is your best bet. Alright, but enough of that. Let's go with the CP now. Alright, so for the blue CP we do run Fighting Finesse, increases critical damage, critical healing. Focus Many, increases our healing done when single target heals. Master at Arms, increases our damage done with direct damage attacks. This honestly is your flex spot. If you do want to run Deadly Aim to increase your single target dots, you could run that. And Ironclad, reduces our damage taken from direct damage attacks. For the red CP, typical seal of approval red hex CP. Celerity, increases our movement speed by 10%. Honestly, in my opinion, the best CP in the entire game. Survival Instinct, while it deals a negative status effect, our core combat skills cost 25% less. That includes roll dodge, CC break, blocking, dodging, like all that stuff. Pain's Refuge to the more negative effects we have active on us, the Tankier will become. And Sustained by Suffering, while it with a negative status effect, which is basically all the time in PvP, you can increase your mag, health, and stamina recovery by 150. There's no need for Relentlessness since we get Relentlessness from Dead in Pain, which is just an insane heal skill to cast. And for the green CP, doesn't ever really matter. Rationer, Liquid Efficiency, Gifted Rider, and Steve's Blessing. But if you're strapped for CP points, all you need is full points into Breakfall and Liquid Efficiency. That's all you really need. Okay, so Necro in depth. So for those people that know how to play the game, been playing the game for years, or been playing Necro, understand Necro, you don't have to watch this segment. You can skip to the end or get off the video, whatever. But for those that do want to stick around to the end, usually the people that do want to learn the class, this is the perfect segment for you. We're going to be going over what exactly are corpses and what do we do with corpses. But now let's get back to the juicy part. Now we have corpses. There's certain skills that need corpses or get amplified by corpses. So the thing about corpses is they are consumed once you cast it. Once you cast a skill, the corpse will be consumed, unlike Arcanist where you can stack them up. You can kind of stack up on the ground, but they only last a certain amount of time. A little lost, don't worry, I'll explain a little bit. So what is a corpse? Well, whenever you cast a skill, like your Blasties, cast a little thing, it goes off, and boom, you see how it glows? That's a corpse right there. Now we can use Dead in Pain. I absorb the corpse, and I get a heal and major protection. Because normally now, if I press the Y skill, I can't use it because there's no corpse. What's another way to get corpses? Well, there's other ways to get corpses. You can have your Summoner's Armor, and your Spirit Guardian will also cast a corpse. So there we go. So the thing is, once this skill expires, it will actually create a corpse. And same thing with Spirit Guardian, it will actually create a corpse. Now you might be wondering, how come sometimes I can get a corpse when I recast a skill and sometimes I can't? Because if I recast the skill before it's over, my ghost creates a corpse. Same thing with armor. 1 second, I cast it again, creates a corpse. But if I do it again early, armor goes, it doesn't cast a corpse. Why is that? Simple. The abilities just need to be active for longer than 10 seconds. So once this armor hits 9 seconds, then 10 seconds, boom, creates a corpse. Same thing with ghost, 10 seconds, boom. That's all it is. Once your corpses have been up for 10 seconds, once it, well, let me say that again. Once the abilities that create corpses have been up for 10 seconds, you can recast it early to drop a corpse early and get yourself some major protect. Look, so now we have 3 corpses on the ground. Boom, 12 seconds of major protection. That's what I'm talking about, baby. That's how you buff a skill. And it's also healing us every second. Just beautiful. So that's pretty much it. It's that simple. The thing about Blasties, it blows up. So it always caps a corpse as soon as it blows up. Boom. 12 seconds of major protection. And if you kill a target, you can even get 16 seconds of major protection. Or no, 18. Wait, no. Yeah, 16. Yeah, sorry. Up to a total of 24 seconds major protection, which is just insane. So there are a few other skills. The only other skill that would consume a corpse would be the only one you should be worried about would be Mortal Coil. Mortal Coil is the exact same thing. I can't cast a skill. I'm hitting X, I can't cast it. However, if I get a corpse, boom, it consumes the corpse. There you go. If you drop, let's say I drop my armor buff, and then I eat the corpse, and then drop my ghosty, and then eat the corpse, that only gave me about 6 seconds of major protection. You want to consume all your corpses at the exact same time to benefit the most. Because look, if I cast all these skills at the same time, boom, one from my armor, one from my ghost, one from Blasties, 12 seconds of major protection, boom, and I can do whatever I want now. I don't have to cast a skill again. I could be hitting them, doing whatever I want. But if you hit Blasties, boom, Blasties goes off, you eat the corpse, and then you cast your armor buff, eat that corpse, and the ghosty, now you only had about like 10 seconds, 9 seconds of major protection. Something to look out for. But sometimes just consuming one corpse will save your life sometimes. A little bit of a longer explanation, but for those that do want to learn Crow, because I know a lot of people don't really go over Crow, they just expect you to know. Hopefully this does help, and plus, if you don't want to hear it, you don't have to be here, right? And another reason you'd want to absorb a corpse is we do have some very beautiful passes from absorb. You at least want one corpse absorption ability. Why is that? I mean, they're free. Plus, you do have a passive here called corpse consumption. Every time you consume a corpse, you get 10 ultimate. So this is extra ulti gen we get, because if you don't ever consume a corpse, you're never going to generate extra ulti, and you're just going to be generating 3 ultimate a second. It's going to take forever to drop an ultimate. But alright, cool beans, that's the build. Hope you guys did enjoy it. I'm going to say right now, Crow is really rough. Thankfully, StamCro is a little bit better. Crow needs all the love it can get. Please, DoT, you're stepping in the right direction with Dead and Pain. Now all you need to do is increase the duration of the armor and the ghost, and maybe make one of the skills viable, one of the offensive skills viable in PvP, and we can have ourselves a very strong class. Right now as it is, it's rough, but for those that love a challenge or can afford to play Crow in a group, perfectly fine for you. I will say though, Crow is hands down the best for survivability, one of the best. Only rivaled by StamCro and obviously beaten by Arcanist, because Arcanist is the best survivability class in the entire game. No one can say otherwise. But for those legends still sticking around to the end, greatly do appreciate it. Hit the subscribe and like button, really goes a long way. Greatly do appreciate it. Support me on Patreon, really goes a long way too. Follow me on Twitch, where maybe I'll stream one day again, hopefully soon. And obviously go over to my second channel, Hexapod 2, where I have basically more raw gameplay. For those who just want to see the raw gameplay and kind of like learn how I play the game, or just want to critique how I play, it's there. For those, especially for those people that complain, all you ever do is show clips, you never show gameplay. If you want to see me kite around a rock for 5 minutes, it's there. Go ahead, knock yourself out. But you know the rest. Hope you did enjoy the build video. Like the video if you liked it. Comment your thoughts and experience with the build. Also anything I might have missed out. What video should do next. Subscribe for more. But most importantly, stay Zergin.
at us! They've taken the relic!